This is a very, very hard text in the original Greek. It's from Demosthenes. It's speech number 61. And the attribution isn't clear, but it's definitely 4th century. And because I worked eternities on this translation, I'd like to read this one myself. When the chariot teams had started and some had rushed ahead while some were being reined in, you, prevailing over both the faster and the slower chariot teams, first one and then the other, surpassing each chariot team in a way that was most suited for each situation, seized the victory, winning that envied garland in such a way that, even though it was glorious enough to win, it seemed even more glorious and dazzling that you came out of it safely. For when the chariot of your opponents was speeding toward you, and everyone thought that the momentum of their horses could not be resisted, you, aware that some runners, even when no danger threatens, become over-anxious for their own safety, not only did not lose your head or your nerve, but by your courage overcame the impetus of their chariot team, and by your speed as a runner passed even those contenders whose luck had not yet had any setbacks. Well, this is all about the risk that an athlete faces in moments of life and death, because this particular athletic event, the event of the Apobatēs, as celebrated at the Panathenaic festival in Athens every year, this particular event really was life-threatening. And we've already discussed how in the heroic age, when a warrior leaps off a speeding chariot and then plows into the ranks of the enemy, how that, of course, is the heroic model. But here we are in the 4th century, and in an athletic event, like the event of the Apobatēs at Athens, people are still doing this climactic moment, reenacting it from the heroic age. And of course, now there's no warfare. It's just a moment from heroic era warfare that's extracted and placed into the present. But it's still very dangerous. And the athlete is armed to the teeth, so to speak. He's wearing a breastplate, he's wearing a helmet, he's wearing all the paraphernalia as you would reconstruct in the 4th century for what heroes back then used to wear. And here he is jumping off at a very risky moment. Now, what's risky here is that other athletes are jumping off their chariots at climactic moments, and then they all have to hit the ground running. But the question is, what happens if there's a speeding chariot team that is right behind you and is about to trample you? And that's what seems to be going on here, is that not only did this particular athlete win, but he won in a situation where he almost got trampled to death. And that, of course, heightens the excitement and the life and death experience. The speaker who is addressing this young athlete and praising this young athlete for his amazing feat, I love the way this speaker is emphasizing the risk and the kinds of risks that have to be taken, and how this particular person was suddenly in a real jam that his competitors were not, at least in this particular situation.
I like how we sort of get a little window into the psychological aspect of what's happening, because we have seen sort of similar moments in Epic, and I think a little bit later we're going to look at some visual images.
Exactly.
But this lets us right deep inside. And again, even for the runner during this reenactment, it's about this balance between incitement and restraint again.
Absolutely, and so it's an impulsive thing that he does, which is just keep running like the devil while the chariot is coming right at him, and then I guess dodging at just the right moment. But he needs every second
But other people are resisting too much, right?
Yes.
So there's too much resistance.
And the competitors are playing it too safe. This one is not playing it too safe and risking his life.
So when we talk about the balance between restraint and incitement, we don't necessarily mean that they're always even.
Oh, no.
Right?
No,
It's just for each occasion, each context, it has to be just right.
It has to be the right mix. And all that the old man Nestor had said to the young man Antilochus is, just figure out what the balance is. And the balance is, may I be subjective about it, let's say 51% impulsiveness, 49% restraint. So there has to be a mix. And I think what's difficult for us moderns is that when we think of a balance or we think of symmetry, we think it's 50-50. And for the ancient world, even the idea of balancing the dominant right hand and the recessive left hand is symmetry as far as they're concerned. And you and I were talking in an off moment about how even in song making, you can have, let's say, the first line of a verse being seemingly disorganized and the second organized. And even disorganized versus organized can be seen as a balance. So that's the kind of thing that's happening here. It's just very exciting, unpredictable, but the principle of the interaction and the dynamic tension between impulse and restraint is definitely still here.
And the relationship between the two moments.
And the relationship.
The runner jumping off in this
Yes.
reenactment and the turning in the actual, let's say, mythic moment. Is that correct?
Exactly. And if we had the time to read this whole speech, there would be lots of commentary by the speaker about how this is the most heroic athletic event in our present. And when he's saying our present, it's the 4th century.